Patch 803 is gonna make Chamber better, but you will need to adjust your playstyle to the changes because they're quite substantial. In this video, I will explain to you how should you change your playstyle to be min-maxing the newest Chamber. Welcome to Lotus Valorant Laboratory, episode 6, I think. Also, watch till the end of the video because I'm gonna explain to you why I think Riot is acting really fishy with this change. When the new patch will hit, you will feel a different playstyle once you get to use the ult. The ult fire rate is gonna be faster from 0.7 rounds per second to 0.9 rounds per second. Now, how to understand this is essentially you're gonna be able to shoot 6 bullets instead of 5 bullets. Now, I know you don't have 6 bullets in your ult, but the point is this is gonna be like 1 bullet more in the same amount of time you would have shot 5 bullets of the old ult. Now, when the Chamber was released, he had a phenomenal fire rate of 1.2 round per second, which was absolutely broken. It was almost as fast as a Marshall, which has 1.5 per second. So that's like crazy, right? But now with the 0.9, we are gonna be very close to the fire rate where swapping to a headhunter doesn't always mean it's a better choice. What do I mean by that? When you're playing Chamber, the biggest difference between playing him and anything else is your muscle memory after shooting an operator shot, right? So right now, when you're playing Chamber, every single time you shoot your operator, you always should swap to your headhunter right after that, right? This should be your muscle memory. Why? Well, because the headhunter has the fastest equip in the entire game. It's 200 milliseconds from the moment you equip the gun till you can shoot, which is fantastic when you're pairing it up with, for example, Marshall. And you can finish up a body shot essentially in 200 milliseconds after your initial shot from the Marshall. You're able to deal 150 damage in a span of 250 milliseconds, essentially, from your initial shot of your Marshall. So that's very important. When it comes to operators, well, of course, you want to swap because the rate of fire is just so slow. It's always more efficient to swap to your headhunter after shooting that operator, because in case there's a second opponent, you're gonna be able to destroy the second opponent with the headhunter potentially. There's, for example, Yampy, who had an insane clutch in VCT because of the headhunter 200 milliseconds equip time, which allowed him to get additional kill after shooting his ultimate. So in 803, the tour de force fire rate is gonna be 0.9. Now, we don't have a gun, unfortunately, in the game that has exactly the same kind of fire rate, but we can take the Bucky, which is a little bit faster by having 1.1 round per second, right? And kind of imagine that it's gonna be a little bit slower than the Bucky shots, right? So when the Bucky shoots, just imagine that it's a little bit slower, just a little bit slower. Now, with this fire rate, I actually think that swapping to headhunter will not have a lot of sense if you're gonna be fighting mid-range, because right now when you're fighting mid-range with this kind of fire rate, you have to essentially swap to headhunter to have a chance if you miss the bullet, if you don't, of course, TP out, right? Because if you're gonna miss the bullet, then at least you have a fighting chance with the headhunter being equipped. But with the new fire rate, I actually think when you're playing mid-range like this, you're gonna be able to make a second shot with the ultimate, which is game-changing in the way you approach your gunfights in the game, right? So that's one thing that you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to start thinking when to muscle memory into the headhunter and when not, because on the first iteration of Chamber, when the fire rate was 1.2 with the ultimate, you essentially never had to change to the headhunter because the fire rate was just so insane. You were able to just shoot twice as fast as it is right now on 0.7 essentially, right? So in the new patch at 0.9 fire rate, you should only swap to headhunter after the shot up close. So let's say you're in range of like 10-15 meters like this, you want to swap to the headhunter because you're gonna be able to fight up close with the gun when the opponent has an advantage if you miss the shot or if you hit the shot and there's a second player. Now, this also applies, of course, to the operator, where you should always essentially swap to the headhunter, whatever the distance is. Now, I can also guarantee you there are some playstyle changes that you should build in your chamber when it comes to the way you shoot the headhunter, because there will be no changes in 8.3 to the way that the headhunter shoots. It's gonna be a change to his cost. It's gonna be from 150 credits to 100 credits per bullet, which is amazing because you're gonna fit 5 bullets in a pistol round and a trap, which essentially makes you never want to buy anything else than 5 bullets in a trap, which is kind of good. Now, there are a few things that you probably don't know about the headhunter, and that's something that you learn if you're gonna start using the shooting error that you have right there on the screen. Shooting error shows you the deviation of the bullet when it comes to the degree of the bullet, right? So when I'm standing still, headhunter has 0.25, which is very accurate. So Guardian is the most accurate gun in the game, with having 0.1 degree bullet deviation when firing from your hip. Now, on the shooting error, it's not going to show you 0.1, but it's going to show you the yellow bar being essentially in half, right? But if you ADS, then you essentially have 0 bullet deviation, so nothing is even showing on the shooting error when you shoot it, right? This is when I'm walking, as you can see, like crab walking, 0.8. Now, when it comes to the headhunter, there's some hidden stuff that you should probably learn because it makes you play chamber differently. Now, what do I mean by that? If I'm going to be shooting with an ADS, when I'm standing still, it's going to be having 100% accuracy, just like the Guardian, right? But when you crouch and you start walking, right, like this, pay attention what happens to the shooting error now. It's very, very accurate. That's 0.1, which is essentially the Guardian hip fire. So what can you do with this? Pay attention. I'm like 99% accurate with my headhunter while I'm crab walking, which is fantastic because you're gonna be able to take gunfights even at very far away and be fully accurate while doing that. Now, that's something you cannot do with other guns essentially. Now, what is also very important to understand that this gun is actually very accurate while walking without being like, without crouching. So what is happening here? Like, this is full run, right? Pay attention to the shooting error. It's 3.6. This is quite big bullet deviation, but still pretty accurate up close. Now, when you're comparing it to a Vandal, when you're up close, it's essentially half of it. This is like over 6 points degree. Now, when we're gonna go back to the headhunter and I'm gonna start shifting, it's 1.45. So how does that affect you? I think one of the playstyles that you should think about, and you have to like build up confidence in that as well, is that if you're up close, you're actually capable of spamming the headhunter while shifting around. Like this. So you're a mobile character, but you're very accurate. When you're up close, you're able to be very accurate while spamming the headhunter. And with the bullets costing 100, that's going to be one of the things that you should pay attention to, because you're going to be able to shoot essentially more bullets for the same cash. So those playstyle changes should be something that you should consider when 8.03 is going to hit the servers, and you're going to be able to play with those changes to chamber. Now, there's something fishy going on with this change to chamber and the timing of it. I know that the explanation from the devs was that in general they tried to like upgrade the Sentinels because, Killjoy was essentially 95% pick rate, Cypher got a giga buff, and chamber was like kinda on its sideline, right? But I do think the main reason for this change is because of what? What did Riot add just few weeks ago to the game that doesn't really get a lot of spotlight, even though it's pretty broken. Yeah, it's Outlaw, the sniper. And who's the best character in the game to actually use snipers? You guessed it right, it's Chamber. So I think there's this like suspicious thing going on with Riot here when they will try to force people to play Chamber more so they can abuse Outlaw more and show that the gun was a good addition to the game. Good addition? Did I say good addition or gun addition? Well, anyway, that it's a good addition to the game. Now, personally, I think Outlaw is broken as fuck. And I think if we're gonna get more players to actually play Chamber, it's probably gonna also show in the data. Because right now, with the amount of cash that the bullets are gonna cost, with the fact that Chamber is gonna be able to play on full save rounds with 8 bullets of a chamber of the Chamber's Headhunter almost every time, on the full buy rounds, he's gonna be able to play Outlaw and bullets, and then when he's saved enough, he's gonna be able to play Operator or gonna have the ultimate. So essentially, you're gonna have a sniper rifle every round on Chamber when this hits the server. Now, that might be a problem, and I think that Riot might have not thought this through when they're establishing the changes on the PvE server. So only time will tell, but what do you think about that? Do you think this is suspicious change? Do you think this is made just because of the Outlaw? And of course, you know, the typical like, subscribe, this is a completely new channel, so anything counts. But if you stayed till the end of the video, I love you. And if you listen to this, maybe type in a heart in the comments. I know that you watched it till the end. Love you.